So no wonder it's called the Tower of Babel. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As men moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the men were building. The Lord said, "If as one people speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there, the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. We thank God for the reading of His Word.
Thank you, Pastor Brian. The past few weeks, we've been going through the doctrines of grace, and we wrapped it up last week. We didn't do we did 5 lessons, but we didn't do one lesson for each point. I took total depravity and irresistible grace in one point there, because that's how the canons of Dort did it. But I don't want to rehash that. Just wanted to say that now we are on something else. For this week and the next 2 weeks, we're just going to do one-off sermons. So this is a one-off sermon, in the next 2 weeks will be that as well. And then we'll get back into the book of Leviticus, and we'll plan to finish the book of Leviticus all the way up until Christmas. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. And so today, I want to speak about a topic that's been on my mind, on my heart for quite some time: the Christian and technology. Ooh. That was supposed to be a lot more dramatic. The Christian and technology. Let me set the stage a little bit here for you, okay? We live in an age of significant technological advancement. I don't think that's a secret. I think you probably agree with me about that. You all got here with a car, I'm sure, right? I suppose years ago, people would have came here with another technological advancement, a horse and buggy, right? Not as awesome as a car, but nevertheless, it's still an advancement in technology. But there are lots of problems when it comes to technology, and that's no surprise. I remember in high school sitting down with a friend of mine. This friend was way smarter than me. I went to school in Waterloo, and the high school I went to, there was applied students, which was me. Right? Those were like the lower level students. And then there were the academic students. And then there was the IP students, who was way above them. And my friend, he was way up there. Right? He was just a friend of the lowly me, just because I was funny sometimes. And he was hanging out with me. And I remember him saying to me, I just became a Christian, by the way. And I was wanting to share the gospel with him. And he didn't have any of it. He wasn't rude. He just didn't believe it when it came to anything about the gospel. But I remember him saying to me, he said, some point in history, in the future, technology is going to come up with something that is going to make us live forever. So for him, technology was salvation. At some point, humanity is going to live forever. We don't know it yet, but we're going to be able to do it. And here I am saying, no, salvation is found in Christ. He's going, salvation is found in technology. And today, I think some people can fall into that idea, that salvation is found in technology, or at least they could find a lot of hope in technology. I want you to think of young teenagers. I was a teenager back then, but today, teenagers today and other young people, they find more companionship in AI than other real people. They would rather talk to Siri. They'd rather talk to their ChatGPT than to their own friends. This is a reality. I'm not making this up. Studies have been done. And these teenagers say, yeah, I'd rather talk to my own phone, ChatGPT, because at least it never talks back to me in a rude way. It always says what I want. Technology also, it fills the gap of information, doesn't it? I heard that there's this project being done by Elon Musk where there's this chip that's going to be implanted into our brains, or whoever wants it, where they can literally don't have to really think for themselves, and it's like a Google in their brain. So if you ask them a question, this chip will have like AI and Google implanted in their brain so they can just respond to you. It's like it's their conscience, their thoughts. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's the idea. That's what they're wanting to do. See, so technology is a way of really advancing the human in that way. And people look forward to that. People have hope in that. One more I'll give you. AI has also brought about, or is trying to bring about, the death of death. I don't know if you've heard about this, right? Wednesday at prayer meeting, I've shared this already, but I want to share with you here or again that AI, what it's doing is it can take anybody, copy their mannerisms, copy their vocabulary, copy their physical appearance, and it can put it on a screen, and you can talk to it as if you're talking to that very person. And why I say it's the death of death, or they're trying to bring about the death of death, because they're taking loved ones who have passed away, a spouse who has passed away, a family member who has passed away, a father or a son, and they're using AI to recreate them. So as if they never died. This is the age in which we live in, isn't it? With these technological advancements. But I want to keep going. I really want you to see the kind of age that we're in. Sherry Turkle, a trained psychologist who has written extensively on technology, she's very helpful here. And she shares an experience with her where she really started to study technology as a psychologist, where she was working in the long-term care homes. And she brought this robot. It's a seal robot. And you can pet it, and it responds and looks you right in the eye, and it coos and ahs. And the studies have been done it says it helps people with dementia. And she brought it in, and she noticed that there was one of the residents who was talking to this robot baby seal, and was holding it and was weeping and finding great comfort in it because that resident, her daughter just passed away. And she was sharing her grief, her problems with this robot seal who was looking right at her and seeming like it was sympathizing with her. And a lot of the other workers, the nurses, PSWs, were looking at it and thought it was amazing. But Sherry Turkle, and I'm happy she says this, she looked at it and she thought, this is a problem. And the reason why it's a problem, because it's a simulation. It's not real. That's the bottom line. But she came up with this conclusion. I think it's a striking conclusion. She says this: we have come to expect more from technology and less from each other. That's tough, isn't it? Oof. We've come to expect more from technology and less from each other. And I think that's why these teenagers are turning to AIs. Why others are turning away from their spouses into AI. Certainly they shouldn't do that, but that's a problem. This is the age in which we live in, isn't it? Where technological advancements are really changing our minds, our hearts, and drawing our attention towards it where it should be elsewhere. How should the Christian think about these? How should the Christian respond? And that's what I want to talk about today. So first, I want to give a definition that we can work with. And then I want to give 3 responses that a Christian should have. Are these the only Christian responses? Absolutely not. But these are 3 that I think will be helpful for you, okay? So here's a definition right here. Technology is the extension of human capacities through tools and techniques. That's the definition I want to get. So it's broad there, right? Technology is the extension of human capacities through tools and techniques. So let's not limit technology only to like an iPhone or an iPad or something like that. But it's anything that helps humanity, any tool or technique that is a means to make life easier for humans. Technology is meant to go beyond human capacity, and it's meant to help us, ideally. Let me give you some examples here. If you look at the screen here. Obviously, if you look at the top left, you got the phones, you got the devices. That helps us. How many of you looked at your phone this morning? Yeah, most of you. Most of you. Even you, Brian. Wow. Yeah, I'm surprised. I think it was just last week. Brian and I were going somewhere together, and I was at Brian's house, and I said, "Hey, Brian, are you going to take your phone with you? We're going to go to this place." He said, "No, just leave it. I don't need it." And for me, I was like, can't leave the house without a phone. And Brian's just, nah, forget about it. Doesn't need it. But look, more technological advancements to the right. We get agriculture. We have plows and tractors and irrigation systems, don't we? Bottom left, airplanes. That's an amazing thing. You can fly across the world. And to the right, we got satellites. I think of GPSs. I can't imagine a world anymore without a GPS. I mean, or at least I wouldn't want to. When I first started driving, GPSs were just coming out. And so a lot of people didn't have them. Only like the ones who were more wealthy. And they certainly weren't on the smartphones, right? Sounds like I'm really, really old. Obviously, I'm not, but that's what I remember. And I remember when I first started driving, if I wanted to go somewhere, I had to look it up online. I had to go on a map. And I found that not so fun. And many of you who are older than me, you go, Tony, you don't know the half of it. You're right. And I'm happy I don't. Now today, you can just type the address and it leads you right there on the GPS. I find that absolutely amazing. Technology is awesome. I like it. I like technology. And I think you should too. Technology, in one sense, I want to say this. It's humans exercising God's mandate to cultivate and steward creation. It's humanity exercising God's mandate to cultivate and steward creation. Not completely, but it's a part of that, right? Because all of technology is not ex nihilo. That's Latin. That ex nihilo just means from nothing. We didn't create technology from nothing. We're creating technology from resources and materials that are already here, right? God already knows it. God has already put everything on this earth, and all we're doing is discovering that, putting it together. We're stewarding, we're cultivating what God has given us. God, I think he's just waiting in heaven going, yeah, you're waiting for the iPhone. You're waiting for this. All of it is in God's plan already, and it's coming to pass. And some of it's good, maybe, and some of it's bad, maybe. But I'm not really seeking to answer that question. What technology is good? What technology is bad right here? A question I really think is more helpful is, how is technology forming you? How is technology forming you? Because the first response I want to give is this. This is how a Christian should respond to it, is to understand that technology is formative. So in that sense, all of technology is not neutral. It is shaping you. It does that for what it really is. And you might think to yourself, well, that's not really a Christian response here. Well, it is, because what are we to be conformed into? Or to whom are we to be conformed into? We're to be conformed into the image of Christ, day by day. Conform to his image. We're to look like him. And I'm saying to you that technology is shaping you. It is doing that. It's not neutral in that sense. And every single time you use it, it's forming you towards something, whether that's to Christ or away from Christ. And is it doing that? We have to understand that technology forms us because every technology carries assumptions. I'm going to explain that in a moment. And it trains particular habits. How do I know this? What do you see here? An old TV. It's an old TV here. Probably if you turn it on, it might not even have color. Anyone ever have a TV like this? Yeah. Not me. But TV programs, think about it. Don't TV programs shape us? Certainly they do. Like a box of electronic, which is what a literal TV is, that might not shape us. But the whole idea behind a TV and what it's for, the entertainment it brings and the news that it can give us and all these other things, obviously that's what it is. And all of that has biases, does it not? All of that has assumptions that is being given to us, whether good or bad. It's shaping us. And I find this also interesting. We shape the TV as well. We shape the programs as humans, as culture. We create what's on the TV. We create the TV shows. We create the news. We shape all these things. Yet at the same time, it's shaping us. I want you to even think of another technological advancement, something that you might not think of. Think of a hammer. Doesn't seem very significant, but it is. And how can a hammer shape us? Right? I want you to think that what a hammer and a nail has taught us is how homes are built. See? Now, framers, carpenters, that's how they think now. The way to build a home is with a hammer and a nail, or a gun and a nail, or screws and nails. This is how you fasten homes, at least in North America. It trains us to think that way. We don't think to fasten homes other ways. There's other ways to do it, but that's how we've been taught. You see, technology is formative. It shapes you. It shapes your minds. It builds habits. It has assumptions. It has biases. We have to know that. Social media, it reshapes our attention and our identity. Social media, it has things like TikTok and YouTube Shorts. And I think many of you here might not even know what that is and might not even care. But this short-term content, which is about 5 seconds to 30 seconds long, people will do something called doom scrolling. And they will spend hours just scrolling through these 5 to 30 second videos. And believe me, it is addicting. You might think, how can that be addicting? Because it's hitting your dopamine all the time. It's giving you everything you want, right? Just when you had enough of, let's say, Christian content, you swipe up and then you get a comedian and you're laughing. And then right when you had enough of that, you swipe up and then it gives you the news and then you're engaged again. And then right when you're done with that, you swipe up, you're back to Christian content. Oh, okay. Well, good. I can keep feeling good in my Christian witness because now I'm doing something productive. And right when you're done with that, it repeats all over again. And before you know it, you're spending hours on these short-term content. And it reshapes you, right? It's reshaping your attention. You see? Technology is formative. It is shaping you. And think of AI. I know teachers don't like AI, at least in high school and post-secondary, because a lot of students are using AI and they read these papers and they know when it's AI because AI sounds like a robot. Now they're doing a lot better not to sound like a robot. But you see, AI there is shaping how we learn. It's shaping how we communicate. And AI, if we use it as a companion, it's shaping how we relate to our devices and relate to one another. It is formative. I hope you understand that. So hear this. Technology is not merely delivering information. It is delivering formation. And again, I want to ask that question. Is it forming you towards Christ or away from Christ? We shape technology, but at the same time, it shapes us. And we have to be careful when the things that we create shape us. Why do I say that? Look at this. Psalm chapter 115, verse 48. We read this earlier. But this is a portion I really want us to look at. Look what it says here. Their idols are silver and gold made by human hands. So these people, their idols are silver and gold. Is that just random? Did they just go, I want to make a statue out of silver and gold? No, silver and gold is expensive. Silver and gold is a trading of worth to trade with. It's valuable. And so they're not making an idol out of anything. They're making an idol out of something valuable, out of something that is good. And so they love it so much, they form it into something that they could worship, form it into something that's into their own image, form it into something that they could talk to. They give it a mouth, they give it ears, they give it hands and feet so that they could worship it. They could talk to it. Sounds almost like AI. Make it into our image so we can talk to it, form it, and love it. But I want you to see, this is a good thing, at least on the surface level, silver and gold, right? That's humans have seen something that is good and they made an idol out of it, silver and gold. And then look what happens at the end then. Those who make them are just like them, as are all those who trust in them. Right? This idol here that they've created, it has a nose, but it cannot smell, has eyes, but cannot see, a mouth, but cannot breathe, feet, but cannot walk. It's lifeless. It's dead. Though outwardly it looks alive, outwardly it looks like it can really move and do lively things. But inwardly it's dead. And the human who worships it becomes just like it, but spiritually and then physically. Spiritually, we become dead when we create things, idols, and worship it. Because our mouths, our hands, our feet, our eyes, they were not created for the things of this world. They were created for a greater purpose, to serve God. And when it's not for God's purposes, it becomes useless. Just like these idols are useless. When we use our mouths, our hands, our feet, our eyes for idols, we become useless. We don't fit the purpose we were designed for, because we weren't designed to worship the things of this world. We were designed to worship God, find life in Him, find purpose in Him. That's what we were designed for, to worship Him. We have to understand an important truth. And the truth is that we become what we worship. We become what we worship. And we worship what we give our attention to. We worship what we give our attention to. Are you giving your attention to technology? Kerry Newhoff, he used to be a pastor, I believe, for over 20 years. Now he's just a Christian who's online and really helps other Christians. And he speaks about the problem of the algorithm. The problem of the algorithm. What is the algorithm? Well, if you go online, if you go shopping online, if you go watching videos online, the algorithm is working in all of your searches. Some might say it even listens to you as you talk. And what the algorithm does, it gets all your searches, gets all of your speaking, if it listens to you. And it gives you what you want to see, what you want to hear. So, if you were looking up, I don't know, tools, the algorithm would go to your search history, and if you were looking up at particular tools, it would tell you the tools that you want. And if you're looking at videos and it's good Christian content and it's reformed folks like it should be, it would give you more of that. Say, oh, you like watching John Piper? Oh, you like watching John MacArthur? You like watching these guys? Oh, I'll give you more of them. It gives you exactly what you want. The algorithm works for you in that way. And Kerry Newhoff says this algorithm, we are being shaped by it. For many of us, we are being discipled by it. And Kerry Newhoff says pastors, he talks to pastors and he says, you got nothing compared to the algorithm. He says, you have 1 hour on a Sunday with your church to preach and to share with them the word of God. But the rest of the week, the sheep They go back to their phones, they go back to their computers, and they have the algorithm going back to them over and over.
Right.
But I think he's very helpful here because he doesn't say, do away with the algorithm. And I think that's right. I would never preach from here and go, throw away your phones, forget the algorithm. First of all, you probably go home and say, what does the algorithm have to say about the algorithm? What do more trusted pastors have to say about this? Even when we go through the doctrines of grace, I'm sure you went back and you say, I don't know if I really believe what Pastor Brian is saying about this. I'm going to go see what other pastors are saying about this. You go see your algorithm. I'm not saying get rid of it. The algorithm is here to stay. I just want you to see, is it discipling you? Don't let it be your disciple. Sorry, don't let it be your learner. Don't be a disciple under it. That's what I don't want you to do. Because it's here to stay. But Kerry Newhoff, he says, it's a problem. Because we're being discipled by it and not discipled by Scripture or God's Word, Christ. Here's the thing that the algorithm does not ask. See, the algorithm, it doesn't ask this. It doesn't ask, how can I make this person more like Jesus? Our algorithm doesn't do that, does it? Instead, it asks this question, how can I maximize engagement? That's all the algorithm wants. It just wants to keep you. How can I keep this person? How can I keep them interested? How can I keep them watching? Oh, if you want this content, I'll give it more. More and more and more. It just wants to suck you in. So the goal of the algorithm is your attention. It's your attention. And remember, I said what you give your attention to consistently is what you will end up worshiping. You might say, how is that? What are you talking about? Well, listen to this. Wives, I want you to think, what if your husband came home and said, I was giving my attention to another lady today. How would you feel? Oh, that's just attention. You're just giving your attention. No. What if they came the next day and the next day and the next day and they consistently gave their attention to another lady? Don't you think they would lust after them? Don't you think they might even commit adultery? That's a problem, isn't it? See, what you give your attention to is what you will end up worshiping. What are you giving your attention to? Is your attention to the algorithm? Is your attention to technology? Know that it is shaping you. It is forming you. Give your attention to the Lord. Give your attention to the things of God. This is why church here is so important. I want to give you one practical thing here. It's very important here. The wisdom pyramid. This wisdom pyramid is copied after the food pyramid. You all know the food pyramid. You've seen it if you're paying attention in health class. Remember, at the bottom there, I think it's the grains. And then after that, the things that are supposed to make the bulk of your diet are at the bottom. Vegetables and fruits. And then if you climb to the very top, only at the very top, the most minimal of your diet is supposed to be like candy and donuts and things like that. I'm not going to tell you what my diet consists of, but I mean, the wisdom pyramid is supposed to reflect that. But in wisdom, this is from a man named Brett McCracken. He's a Christian. And he's so helpful here. And this is where I want to help you because, again, I'm talking about how Christians should respond to technology. It's forming you, right? How should it form you? I'm not saying do away with it. I'm saying follow what Brett McCracken is saying here. I think he's very helpful here. He says, this is what should really give us wisdom. At the bottom of what we are ingesting, it should be the Bible. Get alone with the Bible. Meditate on it. Chew on it. That should be your primary source of wisdom. And then after that, the church with embodied relationships with one another. Hearing the word preached here. Like here's what I want to say. Like, I'm not saying this when it comes to the church. Only listen to your pastors here. Only listen to me, Steve, and Pastor Brian. No, I'm not saying that. The algorithm's here to stay. The videos that you go watch at home with other pastors, they're here to stay. That's fine. Go look at them. That's great. But they don't know your life like we do. They don't pray for you like we do. You see, we pastors here, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to look at your life. We're praying for you. We're wanting to speak truth right into your life. We want to walk alongside you. That's what we should be doing. And so come to the church. Find life here. Find wisdom here. Put your attention in these places. and you'll grow in your wisdom. And he goes on. And at the very top, that's where he says we should be spending a little bit of our time with technology, specifically with things like television and shorts and things like that. I'll ask the question, is technology forming you toward Christ or away from Christ? Don't worry, my next 2 points are not as long. Number 2, use technology to form God's kingdom. This is the second response. Use technology to form God's kingdom, not your own human innovation. Okay? Let me give you 2 examples right here with Noah and Bible. Noah and Babel. This is a contrast here. We don't have time, but if you could, in Genesis chapter 6, that's where we get the flood account with Noah. And in that account, if you would turn to verse 16, you see God, he commands Noah, and he tells Noah to put a whole coating in and outside of the ark with tar. Okay? That's new, as far as we could say. That's innovation. That's technology in their day. A waterproofing membrane to keep the water away from inside of the boat. Okay? And Noah, he's going to obey the Lord. He receives a commandment to bring that tar on there, and it's meant to preserve life. And so that's what Noah does. And in this very next story, Genesis chapter 11, you get the Tower of Babel. And I love that picture there. You see this man with a brick in his hand. We have created the brick. It's like, and then this big tower behind him going up to the heavens. That's exactly what Babel is. It's man trying to reach to God and say, we can become God. We are like God. Babel, throughout the Bible, is an archetype of humans trying to reach God. It's a real problem. And Babel hasn't gone away. There are Babels all over the world. Many cities trying to innovate, many cities trying to use technology to reach God. And that's exactly what happens. They use the brick and tar. You see, in one scene, Noah, tar is used for God's kingdom, for God's purposes. In the other scene, Genesis chapter 11, the Tower of Babel, tar is used for humanity's purposes, for their glory, their gain, and not God's. Come, they say. Let us make a name for ourselves at the Tower of Babel is what they say. And so with this scene, I just want to see that the Bible does not condemn technology. Both Noah and Babel, they both use technology. Again, right? Technology is a broad term here. So the difference is not the tool or the technique. The difference was the heart, the purpose for the tool. Noah used technology in obedience, while Babel used technology in rebellion. And remember this. The Bible opens up with a garden. And the Bible doesn't end with a new garden, does it? If you read Revelation, you know it doesn't end with a garden. Nor does it tell us to go back to a garden-like state. It tells us that there is going to be a new Jerusalem, a new city. And all the country people in the audience said, no. You look at this city and you go, I don't want a city life. The Bible's not saying you have to live the city life in heaven. It's just this idea of innovation, of the raw materials of this world that God has put into it. It's going to be used to its fullest potential, right? That's the idea of this city coming forward. So use technology, however you're going to use it, for God's kingdom and not your own. And response number 3, do not panic about technology or blindly embrace it. Do not panic about technology or blindly embrace it. Now, I don't think any of you would go to these extremes, right? I doubt that there's anyone in this room who would say, yes, I approve everything when it comes to technology. I think it's God wants everything about it. Because you can obviously think of a lot of technological advancements that are bad. And same with, you would probably also not say, get rid of it all. Because you obviously see that there's a lot of good in technology. But I often think we can hear about things when it comes to AI or other technological advancements today, and we can have a bit of panic about it. Or we can blindly embrace it. We can fall into these extremes at particular times. And I'm saying don't do either of those. Don't romanticize a golden era of the past. I think we can do that sometimes when it comes to technology. We can think back. I wish we could go back to when there was no internet. I wish we could go back to when there was no phone. All these other things. And I can understand that. I really can. I was reading a lot of books before the sermon here, and there's two books in particular that I was, there was a lot more, but one of them is Scrolling Yourselves to Death, which is an anthology of a bunch of articles, and it's very helpful. And what this book is doing, Scrolling Yourself to Death, is it's carrying off of the works of another person named Neil Postman, who wrote Amusing Yourself to Death, right? And he wrote, I think, in the 1980s. And he was really looking at the technological advances in the 80s, like the TV and all these other things. And he says, and we're amusing ourselves to death. This is back in the 80s. And everything that he says, a lot of it has come to pass. He's right. He was like a prophet looking towards the future. And so this new book, Scrolling Yourself to Death, is just saying, yeah, this is a lot of this is really happening. But the problem with Neil Postman is because he kind of romanticized an age of the past, right? He spoke a lot of good. All I'm saying is that I think there is good when it comes to technology, right? But again, we should not blindly embrace it. What should we do then? I think we should, one, fear God, not technology. Fear God, know that He is above, He is awesome, and we should embrace that. Embrace the God we fear. Embrace the sovereign God. That's what we should do. And I want to give you a text here. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16 and 17. This is so important here. Grasp this. Listen to this. Look, Isaiah's prophesying, and he says this. I have created the craftsman who blows on the charcoal fire and produces a weapon suitable for its task. And I have created the destroyer to cause havoc. Let me stop right there. Do you hear what God is saying there? Isaiah's prophesying for God there. God creates both the blacksmith and the ravager, the one who destroys, both of them for His purposes. And so whatever technology gives us today or in the future, we should not fear it. We should not think it's outside of God's sovereignty. The good and the bad that comes to pass, and in this text, any technological advancement, any tool, any technique is for God's purposes. God creates them both. And then look at the very next verse. It gives us hope. No weapon formed against you will succeed, and you will refute any accusations raised against you in court. I love this. This is the heritage of the Lord's servants. Are you not the Lord's servants? This is your heritage. This is your benefit, that no weapon formed against you will stand. No AI, no technology will usurp God's purposes. And their vindication is from me. This is the Lord's declaration. Therefore, Christian, we need not worship technology, find our hope in technology, or fear technology. So, I want to conclude with this. It's really just 3 questions that will help us to evaluate technology, how we use it. Is this shaping me more like Jesus? Whose kingdom am I building? And where is my hope found? Because we want to be more conformed to His image. We want to advance God's good kingdom. And we know that hope is found in the good news of Jesus Christ alone. Technology, it may help us in this life. I would say it does help us in this life. But we just want to keep it in its place. Allow it to serve us, to serve the kingdom. It cannot change our hearts. It cannot redeem this world. Only Christ can do that. Only Jesus is our hope. And we want to keep Him there. Keep Jesus front and center. Worship Him, love Him, and Him alone. Thank you.